Really.
Right, okay, hold on. Let me do some introduction. Hey guys, while waiting for everyone, we're gonna share some. Thank you everyone for joining us live today. Okay, as usual, it's our live coffee talk show with Azmi. Um, Today we start a bit late because Colleen is a bit tight with some recovery, so that's why we start at 4:30. And as usual, we have awesome topic to discuss about today. And to begin with, I would like to say thank you to everyone for joining us live, and hope if you have missed out all the past session, you can watch all the videos on our Facebook page, and then catch up on all the live show that we had with all the previous guests. And today we have another topic, interesting topic with our guest Colleen. And before we invite her, let me give some brief introduction about herself. Okay, so Colleen is well known in the industry, and she is a multi-sport athlete, and she previously was an athlete in Spartan obstacle race, and also in many other running events as well. And she's get into MMA recently, and she have achieved amazing result in a very short stint. So one of her achievement as an athlete includes being one of the top Spartan athletes in Asia, and also winning the first gold medal for Malaysia in 2019. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to invite our guest, Colleen, to come on stream today with us today. All
Hi,
right,
Asmir.
Colleen. Hi, how are you? Sorry for the bit messy setup here
No, it's
today.
good. It's all good, man. It's so good to see you again. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your show.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you. We've been knowing each other for a bit, but I think it's we haven't done any proper interview to dig deeper
Yeah.
about you and your, I mean, how you came about to this sport. Maybe to begin with, maybe for our audience, you can share a little bit about yourself and your background and how you pick up sports and now focusing more onto MMA. So the floor is yours, Colin. Go ahead.
Okay. First off, like thank again to everyone that's watching. Hi, and thank you so much for tuning in and joining us today. Um, like Asmir said, my name is Colleen. I'm currently an MMA fighter. So, like Asmi said, I used to do a lot of different sports before. So, I've been doing sports and martial arts since I was a kid. Um, I used to compete in basketball from the age of 10 till about 16. And then I went into trail running and road running simultaneously, starting
Ah,
from the age of about 16 till about I think I was about 2021 where I stopped racing trail and road races. I was also doing Spartan. So Spartan is kind of like an obstacle course race. And I was competing in the Asia Pacific Championship Spartan in 2017. The series where we were sent to 5 different countries to compete, um, bringing home the bronze for that Spartan series. And then 2018 I was also still doing Spartan for the Southeast Asia Championship Series. Uh, so I started fighting MMA in 2018 actually, while I was still doing Spartan racing. In 2019 did I actually decided to switch sports in its entirety, and I started focusing on MMA much more. So competitiveness has always been something I've been doing since I was a kid. Just that I kind of fell in love with the mixed martial arts sport. I think when I was about 17 or 18 when I was introduced to it, and since then it's just been, I think, one hell of a roller coaster, to be honest.
Thank you, Colleen, for a very nicely introduction by yourself. Because I kind of lost my script that I want to introduce properly, so that's why I was a bit messy at the start. Okay,
Ah,
anyhow,
it's
okay,
okay.
okay, anyhow, we it casual as usual. Okay, so Colleen, you mentioned that you have involved in a lot of sports since you were kids, and then
Mhm.
and most recent before you fully commit to MMA was Spartan. So
Yeah.
I think we met each other during that period, and
Yeah.
probably a lot of people would want to know how what made you transition fully from being a Spartan, one of the elite in the Asia, not only in Malaysia, and then suddenly take the leap of faith and moving into a new, not relative new sport for you, but maybe for the audience themselves. Going straight and jump into MMA and then commit yourself to that and share with us.
I think I understand during that time, like I remember I was still working with you as well. I met you around that time, and I feel I had a love for obstacle course racing. Don't get me wrong, definitely was something that I enjoyed and I loved. I was also training MMA in like all the mixed martial arts in itself, but also I was doing jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, and everything like that at the same time. I think it was in 2018 when I had my first MMA fight. When I finally had my first MMA fight in 2018, did I start to realize that I had this love and passion for MMA. And I remember in 2018, I was fighting and racing simultaneously. So I was traveling around Southeast Asia, competing in Spartan races while also fighting every alternate month, give or take. So I had, it's something in me, I guess. This one I think very much credit to my parents, that inside me I knew that um, no matter what sport I chose, as long as I gave my all, I would be able to make it work. So I was actually torn between two sports. I was literally torn between obstacle racing and MMA because I love them both. And for me, I think it came to a point where after the advice from a lot of my friends, those races like Natalie Dow and a lot of my coaches, they told me that in order to progress the way I want to progress in whatever sport that I want to achieve, I need to pick a sport and focus all my attention on it and not split myself 50-50. Because as much as at that age I kind of thought that I was invincible, that is not usually the case. So in the end, I realized that I could not imagine myself never fighting again. But the thought of not doing obstacle course racing again did sadden me, but it wasn't as, I guess, saddening or heart wrenching for me to imagine myself never fighting again. So, with that in mind, I kind of figured, okay, if the fact that I cannot never not see myself fighting it, it means that my heart is in MMA and not no longer in obstacle course racing. So that was when I was like, okay, I need to do what's necessary and take that jump.
All right, that was very detailed explanation by Colleen on how she how she decided to go into MMA full time. I think all in all, I mean, we know that of course we can do a lot of things, but if you want to really succeed and to go to the next level and achieve a greater height, you must put your energy on one basket, and so same goes with everything.
For sure.
Definitely. Okay. Okay. So I think our question next is will be why MMA. I mean, you definitely have explained MMA. Say, but I mean, of all other sports, of all the sport that we try, why MMA? I mean, because it's more of like I would say very very
Aggressive.
unconventional for ladies and very aggressive for
Yes.
ladies. You know. So
Yes.
yeah, why this decided to go for MMA?
I was brought into it perchance at the gym. Like, I honestly didn't think about mixed martial arts, to be very frank. Like, I watched it, but I never thought of fighting it myself. I was already doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and Muay Thai at the time. And so Aguilan, he asked me to come to one of the MMA classes, fighters class, since I wasn't studying at the time. I just graduated. So he asked me to join because apparently there was a girl who was there and needed a partner. So I was like, okay. And from that day, with the MMA training I was doing every single day with those pro fighters, I started to fall in love with MMA, and I realized, like, wow, this is so fun. This is so amazing. Like, I just started to fall in love with the training and everything like that, and it became like a part of me in a sense. Like, martial arts, like doing Muay Thai, being under my coaches and all that really helped me to shape who I am. Not only did MMA kind of, you know, make me fall in love with it, but also it made me a different person because as a teenager, I kind of, you know, I think a lot of us go through this our body dysmorphia and all these kinds of things, where, I think a lot of teenage girls and boys go through this a lot. So when I started doing MMA, um, it start my the way I saw myself started to change. It was more of how many takedowns can I do? How hard can I punch? To instead of how does my body look like? So I started changing. My mind started changing towards a way of how much better can I perform? What can I do to make sure that I can punch harder? I can lift heavier people. I can do a proper technique, and I think that also fueled and gave me the confidence in MMA. I sometimes think, like, for some people, they say, like, you didn't choose this spot chose you. Sometimes I feel like that is literally the case with me. It was as if, like, it called to me. It's like, no matter what, I would have crossed paths with MMA and I would have fallen in love with it, I think, in any alternate dimension or anything like that.
All right, amazing, amazing story indeed. Okay, Colleen, you mentioned that. I mean, you mentioned that you start to fall in love with the sport after became ad hoc partner for one of the. So I think that's a good point that we should discuss or not should highlight to our audience today. Whereas you're going to try a lot of things, a different thing before you finally pursue something that really and you enjoy and you love about it. So that's what happened to you. You try ballet, you try Spartan, and now MMA, and then finally you feel that what you said now, the sports is meant for you, and you're gonna go all in for that one. And
Mm-hmm.
talking about that, I mean, before this, you were really good and really very inspiring in the obstacle course. What was it? What was the different in terms of mentally and physically changing to one sport to another sport, which somehow or rather using a different skill sets? For example, in obstacle course, one of the part that you should be good is endurance. Whereas in jiu-jitsu or in MMA, you got a lot of physical going on over there. Maybe you can explain how was the transition for you?
I would say the transition in itself isn't that large because even in MMA, like we do say, obstacle course racing really is an endurance sport, but MMA you do really need the stamina. So with the base of obstacle course racing, it gave me really good stamina and endurance when it came to um, fighting MMA. The only downside was that because I was so used to doing endurance, my strength and power, which was what I needed for MMA to be able to pick up my opponents and to be able to punch really hard, was very much lacking. So physically, the transition and the training was it. The basis of obstacle racing did give me a good base for fighting, but when it comes to strength and power, it was one of the greater problems that I lacked, greater things that I kind of lacked in when I switched over to MMA due to the lack of it in obstacle course racing. But mentally speaking, the only slight difference is that in obstacle course racing, you are kind of mentally battling yourself. Because yes, you're racing against other people, but you are also mentally fighting against yourself, because there are times in a run where you are literally by yourself or you're behind and you need to keep pushing your pace because no one's pacing you. You are pushing your own pace, and it's just you talking to yourself the entire time. And when it comes to MMA, the difference is that the your battle is basically literally with the person right in front of you. So your mental toughness from obstacle racing did very much carry on into MMA, because I kind of had the mindset of, if I can run 22 kilometers and sustain, that means I'll be able to fight for 3 to 5 rounds with no issue. So I had that confidence in me. But when it comes to you talking about a competition itself, it does vary, because one is uh one is literally just an obstacle and your own mental barriers within yourself, whereas in MMA you literally have a person in front of you as an obstacle, and it's unpredictable. That is the difference when it comes to mentally. You can mentally prepare yourself in so many ways for MMA, and you still will not know what your opponent is going to do. So the toughness that you need to endure is also different, because the pain that you feel in MMA when you get punched in the face is very much different to the kind of pain that you feel when you're running an obstacle course race and all that. So there's a lot of other factors that kind of come into it. But I would say the transition was actually pretty smooth. It's just with, a few discrepancies here and there.
Amazing. Okay, okay. Yeah, that was a very good point. You highlighted that. In essence, it was pretty easy for you because, in a way, you as an athlete and you just going to a different sport and you use some of the basics that you get from Spartan and bring it to MMA. But I'm sure there's a lot of different skill sets that you had to learn and a lot need to adjust. So
Definitely.
what kind of training that you have to add on, especially when you said earlier on that your strength and power were very lacking for MMA sport? Were there a lot of things you need to do to catch up with other fighters or with other opponents that you think that you had to do?
Um, for me, it was more of, yes, definitely I needed to train my strength and my power a lot, but instead, knowing that I had not yet the strength and power that I needed, I made it as such that I would bring my opponents to where I was the strongest at. So since I had the cardio and stamina to grind the fight out and grind them out, that was what I did. So that was kind of the game plan for like my past my past fights, to be honest, was taking them to where I was strongest at. No, I'm not as strong as them. I'm not as powerful as them, but I have the stamina to grind them out. So I would just make them tired until they are tired, and then I could initiate my game and push my game a little bit more. So I think the training definitely did change to a more definitely MMA based and all that, where we do a lot of explosive work like medicine balls towards the wall, explosive jumps and all that. But all in all, I still kind of it's kind of like, if any of you watch Khabib, way he grinds out his opponents, that was basically me, because that was my strong suit.
Right. Awesome. So, what you will say from what Colin just explained now is when you are lacking in something, don't focus on your weakness rather than focus on your weakness, better focusing on your strength, where you can use that as an advantage to overcome your opponent. Very smart of you, Colin.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have
But
a,
def-
a
but definitely I still need to work on my strength. Like I have a strength coach now, but
yeah, yeah,
still it's
yeah.
a long process.
Yeah, yeah, understood. Of course, of course. It will take time, but meanwhile, use whatever strength that you have,
Yeah.
your advantage, and use that to your advantage, lah. Okay, so to those who's
Mhm.
watching, don't forget to share this live video so you can stand a chance to win some awesome prizes from us later on. Okay, we're gonna go to the next question. All right, Colleen, in 2019, you won gold in the IMMAF Asia Open Championship. Was so long, okay, marking a new history for Malaysia. How do you feel at that moment? What was the feeling? Was it something that you expected, or something like you didn't expect it, or how was it for you, and how did it change your career as an athlete?
um I cannot lie. I'm not gonna lie and say like I didn't expect it, because that was what my coaches and I were going for. Like, we went there going like, we do not care. We are going there for the gold. You are taking home a gold medal. That's basically what my coaches said before we left, because I only could bring my jiu-jitsu professor with me and I could not bring my striking coach with me. So that was basically the mindset I was given. My wrestling coach even was like, "You go there, you fight, you come back and bring home the gold medal." It was not nothing less than that. Like, they wouldn't accept anything less than that. So to say I didn't expect it is partially true as well. But at the same time, did I expect it? Yes, because I fully believed that I was able to do it. With, of course, with my team and my coaches, I fully believed I could do it. And honestly, actually achieving what we set out to achieve was definitely something that was overwhelming for me and my coaches itself, because um, this actually happened literally 5 minutes before the finals of the Asian Open. So I had already a fractured nose from the fight before, and during the finals, I actually had a small, I guess, anxiety breakdown or mental breakdown a little bit 5 minutes before I was supposed to fight in the finals. And it was something that I think my friend Daniel Danchi, he's an MMA coach as well, but he at that time he was the videographer, and he actually asked me about it. I actually broke down crying 5 minutes before my fight, because I had realized and it had dawned on me that this fight was the deciding factor if I was going to become a champion and make history, or I was just gonna be another number. And I wanted so badly to bring home the gold medal. They realized that how important this next fight was, and that kind of overwhelmed me that I actually started crying. My Professor Bruno, actually had to like slap me awake, like literally slap me. Like, my friend, he actually had a photo of Professor literally like holding me, holding my head, going like, Colleen, you need to focus. You need to focus. We are here, And I was telling him like, Professor, what if I mess up? All these kinds of things. And he was like, No, you're not. You're gonna go in there. You're gonna listen to me. We worked hard for this. You know what to do. I know you know what to do. Just go in there. Listen to me. Listen to your brother. My brother was the corner at the time, and it's like, just listen to us, remember the game plan, and just do what we say. Okay, and he was telling me, we are not here, we won't be here if we didn't believe in you. He's like, I didn't fly all the way out here to Bangkok just because I thought you were going to lose. I came here because I know you are going to be a champion. And he told me like, you are already a champion. All you need to do is prove it to them and bring and take that goal to show them that you are who you actually are. And that kind of woke me up, and I was like, okay, I'm great, I'm fine. And literally, when the referee stopped the fight and the TKO in the second round, I was just ecstatic. I was the happiest I've ever felt ever. Like, I was like, I had realized when I was like to me, because like a TKO is like confirmed. No one can say I don't deserve this win. I didn't earn this win. So it was just like, what we set out to achieve, my coaches and I, we actually achieved it. And literally, like, the photos from that fight was, every time I look back at it, it always makes me so happy and it makes me cry because I remember how it felt because I was actually out in the end of 2018 for 2 months because of a knee injury. Like I couldn't squat, I couldn't do anything. It hurt so much. So to be able to come back from that and then win a gold medal at a tournament in that international level was just like all the hard work that we put through and everything kind of bore fruit. And I remember just hugging my professor, saying like, "We did it, professor. We did it. Like we won." And I remember him holding me, wrapping me with the Malaysian flag. Like this literally still one of my favorite photos out of all my fights. Him wrapping around the Malaysian flag with me, hugging me, saying like, "You did it. I told you you could do it." And him just like saying that to me, my brother just hugging me and telling me like you idiot, I told you you could do it. And just like everyone around was just, you know, the vibe and everyone was just so happy. Like I was one of the only Asians that was still like in the final. So literally the Thailand team was also cheering for me. There's so many teams cheering for me as well. And it was just the vibe was just the energy was just crazy when I won. I just heard screams everywhere. My parents were screaming, everyone was screaming. So it was just like, wow, I finally did this. And I think the most overwhelming part was when I was given the gold medal, they would play the national anthem of the country that won. So because Malaysia was the champion in the strawweight division, they actually started playing Negaraku literally in front of God knows how many nations there, and they played the Negaraku, and I was just so happy because I realized like wow, because of this, they are literally playing the Nagaraku for literally like countries of people from China, from I mean all parts of Asia were hearing our national anthem because of our win. So it was just like an experience like I want to replicate again and again for sure.
Amazing Colleen herself. It's never impossible to achieve anything. Okay, sorry, my left is a bit problem. It's never
Oh no.
again. Okay, it's never impossible to achieve greatness if you put yourself and commitment to it. Despite injury on a knee in 2018,
Asmir, I
and
can't hear
then
you.
hello, can you hear me now? Hello, hello, Colleen. Hello, Colleen. Can you hear me? Oh, not again. Not the good case again. Oh dear. Hello. All right. Can you hear me? Any voice? Colleen, can you hear? Oh, is it me? What is going on today? Hello, testing. One, two, three. Are we
Oh
on?
no.
Oh dear. Let me check. Hello. Yep. Test. Yep. Yep. I can hear you, Colleen. Can you hear me? Hello? All right. I'm not sure why, but I can hear you definitely. But I'm not sure why you cannot hear me. Is it because of my audio? Hello? Yeah,
Is
audio
it
is
me?
working.
Because I
Yeah, I
can't
think it's
hear
your.
you.
Yeah,
Oh
I think
dear.
it's your headset maybe. Hello. Yeah, my audio is doing well.
Oh no.
Hello. Hay là cái cuối nè. Let me just
Oh no. I
All right,
can't
guys.
hear
So those
you.
who's watching, if you can, okay, guys, if you can hear me, please comment. You can hear me. Otherwise, you can't. Huh? All right? Can you hear me? Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. If you those audience, if you can hear me, please comment down below. We have some technical issue at the moment, but we'll be back shortly. Um, I think everything. If you, yeah, we'll see the comment. Okay, so I think overall is okay. Never mind. We're gonna go to the next question, and I'm gonna put it out for you. All right, Colleen, don't worry. All right. Okay. All right. Can you read it, Colleen? All right.
Oh,
So,
the questions.
yep. All right. Let me show again. Oh, what's wrong with this laptop
Do you
here?
want me to answer the questions? Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure, sure, sure. Let's see. How does your daily routine look like? Um, do you do MMA training every day? What's your next comp? Um, so right now, I'm actually 2 weeks post op actually right now. So my daily routine right now is very different from what I would normally be doing actually, because I just had a knee surgery done about 2 weeks ago. Because, like I mentioned before, I've had a knee injury for about I've having a knee injury for about 3 years now, and we finally got to the root of the problem. I've tried every non-invasive therapy way to kind of fix it, and so I finally got surgery done. So right now, my program actually looks very different. So I'll just let you guys know what I usually do when I'm all healthy and okay. I would train usually about 5 to 6 days a week. I don't train MMA specifically every day. I usually do MMA specifically about 2 to 3. So far, it's 2 to 3 times a week. Every other every other session is either a mix of boxing, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu class, wrestling class, and my strength and conditioning. So those are my usual in 6 days of training. It's always a mixture of all, well, five different elements: strength and conditioning, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, MMA, boxing, and wrestling. So I would incorporate five of these different things throughout the week itself. So usually would be training about 6 days a week and would take about one light day or 2 days even off. My next composition, I'm not entirely sure yet. Most likely is going to be next year because um, I'm literally in week 2 post op, and I'm still recovering from my surgery right now. Um, so the competitions that I was supposed to be fighting, which is end of this year, may not be able to perform the best of my ability. So most likely my next competition will be next year.
All right. Okay, Colleen, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Finally. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, Colleen. So, as usual, we have a specific segment of a rapid fire questions. So, all you need to answer is a very short and precise answer to this question. We have 10 different questions. Okay. So, I'm gonna start with the first question. Okay. Question number one: Who is your favorite sports hero?
Chris Cyborg and
All
Valentina
right.
Shevchenko. Yeah.
Okay. Question number two: What is your favorite sports quote?
I don't have one.
Okay, that's the one. You don't have one. Okay. Okay. Next question: Who will be at every game or match or tournament you've ever had?
My brother has always been there for me. Really.
All right. Okay. What is your routine or ritual before a match or a tournament?
Usually would be listening to music and drilling. Like literally, it's just me and my music. That's it, and visualization.
Okay. For your mental, definitely. All right. What is your favorite movie about sports?
About sports,
Yeah, related to sports. Sports movie.
um, Creed, Creed, uh, the one with Apollo Creed, Michael B. Jordan's in it. Damn, I forgot the name. And also our own Malaysian film actually, Sangkar. Sangkar was actually pretty good too.
All right. Okay. Okay. What's your favorite sportswear color? So your lucky charm color for any tournament?
Don't have one, but if I would
Don't have.
choose, I think black and red will be my favorite.
Okay.
If I could choose.
Okay. Okay. One of the toughest question among our guests. All right. Be ready. What is your favorite food?
Uh my favorite food. Oh my god. I don't really know. I kind of eat everything. As long as it's vegan, I just eat it.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So every vegan food is your favorite food then. Okay. So I think this is quite easy for you. What is your most memorable moment in your sporting career? I think you highlighted it now.
I think that's one of them. Another memorable one is definitely my first loss at the World Championships. The bronze
All
medal at the
right.
World Championship was also a very memorable one. It really taught me a lot when I was
Uh,
competing at the Worlds.
Okay. All right. Next question. Something you've always wanted to try but is too afraid to do.
Maybe bungee jumping or jumping out of an airplane. I'm
Okay.
deathly afraid of heights.
All right. But you want to try.
I would be open to doing it. Maybe jumping out of an airplane. Maybe.
Okay, we might do a surprise birthday party jumping out of plane for you. Okay, next one. What is the toughest competition you have ever faced?
World Championships. World Championships. The Swedish girl that I fought. She was the toughest one that I've so far. I had the most injuries after fighting with her in the World Championships in 2019. Day two with her, we went 4 rounds because the judges couldn't decide who was the winner. So I think she was literally like, it felt like a war to me for those four
Wow.
rounds. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys. So that's our rapid fire question. We still got a few more questions later on for Colleen. All right. So if you have any question, please drop on the comment section any question, and we will be asking Colleen straight away for you. You can be any question, personal, life question, anything under the roof. Okay. So we have a few questions from our audience, and let me
Mm-hmm.
pop it out. Okay.
Oh,
So hi, Colleen. You're such an inspiration. After your long, glorious career, what is your plan after retirement? I think she might not know you. She thought you're still already. So you got a long way to go. But what's your plan
yeah.
after you finish a career as an athlete, Colleen?
Um,
Answering her question.
well, just to clear up for those who actually don't know me, I'm actually 23 years old only. I started fighting MMA when I was 20 years old. So I've only been in the MMA scene since 2018. So I'm still quite new. I'm still amateur. I'm not yet professional. So my career is not glorious. It is not long. There is a long way for me to go. But about my retirement when I'm about 40, when I stop fighting, 35, 40, when I stop fighting, I still very much want to be involved in the sport in some way or another. Since I'm already a personal trainer, most likely I would love to, share my knowledge and most likely would love to be coaching some way, one way or another as well. I still want to be involved in sport somehow, even if I can't fight as an athlete in like
All
20
right.
years.
All right. Okay. In the meantime, it's gonna be full time as an athlete, and are you doing anything else?
I'm a personal trainer, so I do train clients here and there. But mostly I usually cater to children actually. So I
Okay.
tend to train kids.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so one more question. I think you might know him, Brian Lim. Colin, why are you wearing something for oxygen? Maybe you can explain to the people out there who have been watching us. Maybe they might have a similar, question, or they wanted to know what the hell are you pulling your nose? Yeah, but you can explain to
Okay.
them.
Yeah, no problem. So actually, I'm at Dixon Lab in Publica. So since my surgery, I'm trying as much as I can non-invasive ways for me to speed up my healing process so I'm be able to go back to my MMA training as soon as possible. So here what this is actually hydrogen. It's actually not oxygen. So this is hydrogen. I'm inhaling hydrogen so that I will have stronger lungs. Hydrogen is a very light kind of gas. So it helps to expand the lungs, which in turn will be able to. I'm trying for 1 month right now, and I do feel a slight difference as it is the first. It's been 1 week, and it's to help me be able to, once without this, since my lungs are more expanded, I'll be able to take in more oxygen in my training, which means I'll be able to have a better output and more oxygen output. And this is actually an infrared seat to promote recovery. And I'm actually here. Prior to this, I was actually in the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. So it is a pressurized chamber for scuba divers. They do it after they've gone to a deep sea dive, because when you go deep sea, you very much lack oxygen. So a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, it pressurizes pure like oxygen literally in that small chamber for your body to absorb. So oxygen is needed for your hemoglobin so that you can recover and all that. Stronger red blood cells means a faster recovery. So the oxygen in the pressurized chamber is supposed to aid in my recovery so that I can heal faster by basically pushing pure oxygen into my body. So it's been 2 weeks right now. I've been here. I've got about 2.5 more weeks here, 1 month to see and if it helps my recovery. So far, it's been helping. So yeah, me and my very strange ways of recovering. Besides my rehabilitation, I'm also doing all this crazy stuff.
Whatever it takes to get that extra edge, in sports science, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Anything that helps, you have to try it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier on we have discussed about Colleen's journey in MMA when she started to transition from obstacle race, experience winning gold medal, one of the memorable moments for her. Okay, so now we're gonna go a bit deeper into MMA itself. So maybe for our audience out there, they're not sure, especially those who have no prior experience in MMA. Maybe you can explain what is the difference between male and female MMA. Is there any different, or is it the same? Or if there is, what are the differences? So those who are keen to explore MMA as a sport or as a way to keep themselves fit, or anything you can share from your experience, Colleen.
So I would say MMA, mixed martial arts, is not a gendered sport. There is no difference between male and female in that when it comes to learning MMA. So MMA in itself is a sport and a martial art in itself. Um, but it derives from a lot of other disciplines. And mixed martial arts is basically a sport where you put different disciplines together. That's what MMA is. The discrepancy between male and female is really, there is none. There is no difference. It is like asking what's the difference between a male tennis player and a female tennis player. You are still playing tennis. The sport is still the same. But because we have male and female, it's the same like every other sport because of biological reasons. Science will be able to easily explain all of this. And we have our weight classes just like the men do. The men have their strawweight, flyweight, bantamweight. We also have our weight classes exactly the same weight. Strawweight, flyweight, bantamweight. So we are fighting people in our same weight class and etc. So mixed martial art in itself is, if let's say you want to pursue it in terms of fitness, of course it's wonderful because you MMA incorporates so many different martial arts into one. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, sanda, capoeira, boxing, muay thai, and all these kinds of things. And it just, everything in one sport. But if let's say any one of you out there who actually wants to try it as a sport, doing MMA itself is not enough. MMA is where you mix all your disciplines together. MMA is a place where you learn to, MMA classes and all that is a place for you to learn how to combine everything together and make them all flow smoothly. But you still need to know your basics of knowing how to strike, knowing how to grapple in whatever martial art that you choose to learn. So, like in grappling, there is wrestling, there's Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, there is judo, there is sanda, there's so many. And in striking, if you want to work on your striking, there's boxing, muay thai, and all that. So there's really much more to it than meets the eye, basically, for MMA. But definitely, it's a sport that for those who love it or you want to try it to get fit, definitely go ahead.
And you mentioned earlier on that I mean there's a lot of element. For example, for just what was it, judo, grappling, and of course, as an athlete, usually you have a certain element that you are stronger than the other element. For yourself, maybe you can share with us what is your most strong element that you good at, and then as an advantage for you compared to the other element, and that you are still working on to improve.
For me, the martial arts that I kind of focus on to help my MMA is wrestling, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, and boxing. Um, so far, I've been quite confident in fighting when it comes to a certain amount of confidence when it comes to my grappling more than my striking. So I would say that a bit of my advantage is my Muay Thai and my wrestling. Really does help me a lot in fights because internationally fighting, Muay Thai is a very Asian style. So it is not a style commonly seen actually. So the fact that I remember fighting and the way I was moving and kicking, it was a bit strange to them. The fact that I would use knees a lot and all that, it was not a common thing that I saw around. And also, I think my wrestling was one of the things that really helped give me a little bit of an edge and a bit edge and a bit more advantage against my other opponents. Of course, like I feel like my Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and my boxing can very much be improved upon, which is one of the things that I have been trying to be working on it. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Now we're gonna go a bit more general question. Some women in Malaysia does involve themselves in combat training throughout their generation. So some people do silat, taekwondo, and stuff like that. But all in all, it's fairly low in percentage. What's your opinion on how to encourage women in Malaysia who are interested in martial art but are still hesitant to join because for certain reason? What's your advice to them if they want to take up martial arts, and any advice to them on how they can start their journey?
I would say that I can understand where you're coming from. Um, I'm used to it myself, but I can understand where a lot of women are coming from because when I'm training MMA, I'm usually one. I'm usually the smallest. Second, I'm usually one of the only girls. The only other girl that does MMA is a friend of mine only, and there's only two of us. So I can understand the hesitancy and all that. But honestly, I would suggest is pick a martial art that you like. If you like taekwondo, pick up the classes and just go for it. If you always wanted to try Muay Thai, go ahead. If you always wanted to try judo, pick it up and go ahead. Like, don't let the fear stop you from doing things that you want to do. If you keep living like that in life, you are not going to get anywhere. To me, I understand that it is a very unconventional, it is not normal. You might feel very out of place, but we all have to start somewhere. And I always believe that fear is there in our bodies because we are trying to approach something that is uncomfortable, that is new to us, new to our bodies to respond and adhere. So, recognizing that fear and acknowledging it is good, but don't let it stop you from doing things that you want to do. Like, literally acknowledge it and say, yes, I'm scared, but I'm just going to try and do it anyway because it is something that I've always wanted to do. So, my best advice would literally be that don't let fear stop you and live the life you want to live. If martial arts is what you want to do, just go ahead and do it. Don't let other people stop you because it is your life. Don't make decisions that you're going to regret. Asmir, you're muted. Asmir, you're muted.
At the end
Yeah.
of the day, guys, you never know what's the outcome. So just give it a go, give it a try. Worst case scenario, you might waste a month, a 2 or 3 months, you can go back, you can always go back to where you started, so you don't have to continue. So that's a worst case scenario, so just give it a go. All right, so there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we're going to go into a bit more serious into your regarding injury rehabilitation about yourself. Okay, so today we'll see yourself, you are doing some rehabilitation process, non-invasive method to help you recover. So maybe throughout your career as an athlete, be it as a obstacle racer or now as an MMA fighter, what kind of injury have you experienced, and what was the worst ever injury you ever had in your career up till today?
Man, I've had so many injuries. I've had a sprained ankle. I've had a fractured nose. I've bruised my intercostal muscles, where I couldn't even like turn my upper thoracic at all. Um, I've bruised. I've had concussions before. I've been leg kicked till I couldn't even walk. My muscles just died. Um, but I think the worst injury I've ever had is literally, well, right now. For 3 years, I've had an injury that was diagnosed, where I was kind of diagnosed with patellar tendonitis for 3 years, and I have been training with it and living with it for 3 years now. And the pain comes and goes. And with this supposed diagnosis, and what I thought the issue was, the pain stopped me from jumping. So I can't skip rope. I couldn't skip rope. I couldn't even do jump squats. I can't run because the impact was too much for my knees. So that hindered a lot of things in my training, where I couldn't kneel down for a long time, which was horrible because I was doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and MMA and I needed to kneel down. Um, I couldn't squat, I couldn't shoot, and in the end, I think this was uh, late last year. It got to a point where me, I'm a orthodox fighter. I stand with my left foot forward. That I couldn't even strike with my left foot forward because the pressure was too much on my knee. So I couldn't even strike. So I had to stop striking for a long time because I couldn't even put my left foot forward to bear the weight of me moving around in Muay Thai, and every time in boxing. And when I was doing Muay Thai and I tried to kick the bag, my knee would hurt. So I finally got down to the root of the issue, and I had surgery 2 weeks ago. To once I did an MRI scan and CT scan, we found out the root cause of the issue, and very thankful for these professors and doctors in a hospital, PUPM. It's in Serdang. I went to a government hospital, and they literally finally found the root cause of my problem. We did MRI scan, we did X-ray, everything, and they removed my plica. So it's something that I just learned as well, that 50% of population have. And somehow I've managed to damage mine so badly that, I couldn't jump, I couldn't squat, I couldn't run, I couldn't do a lot of things. So they actually removed my plica because that was the issue. Initially, they thought I might have torn part of my meniscus and might have damaged my cartilage through the MRI scan. But once they went into once they started putting the scope inside my knee, they realized that it was the plica. It was very thick, a lot of scar tissue. So they removed the entire thing, and it's been okay. It's been great. So far, that is my worst injury. Right now, I'm just recovering with rehabilitation exercises every single day. I see my physio 3 times a week. I'm still doing strength training, and literally right now it's just all focused on recovery until I get the green light from my physio to um, start going back to my MMA training again. So yeah, it's a long process.
So yeah, so I don't think it's gonna be the last injury. As a fighter, maybe.
No, I know for a fact it won't be, but right now it's the worst injury because this week, Wednesday, was the first time I could start walking without crutches.
Wow.
Post op 2 weeks. So the past 2 days, I've been able to walk. Okay, I don't look like I'm walking like normal. It looks like something is wrong, but at least I can walk. I can walk without assistance. So two
Okay,
weeks post op,
understood.
it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you as a fighter, you will face even more challenges after this. It's the only way a fighter spirit that you have. Okay, so I mean, of course, you're doing a lot of stuff to help you aid your recovery, and I hope the recovery process will go smoothly, and you'll be bouncing back as big as ever after this. Okay, so you mentioned that it's gonna be end of the year, right? Next year, the next
Most
fight.
likely, it's gonna be next year with this surgery. Most likely, it's gonna be next year. So my coaches and I are planning and we're preparing properly.
Mm.
So
Okay,
I'm not making the same mistake.
would there be any changes in your training or prehab or any aid tools that you're going to use to make sure this similar injury wouldn't happen recurring again in the future?
Oh, for sure. Like I've learned my lesson honestly, and for sure the way I'm gonna be training and the way how I approach my training will definitely be very different. I will want to do it much more smarter. I'm going to listen to my coaches and do what is necessary. I feel like I didn't listen to my coaches enough when they told me I needed to rest. I needed to stop for a while because of my injury. I just kept pushing through the pain. And so from now on, definitely the way I'm gonna structure my training is definitely gonna be vastly different because I want a better outcome, not the same outcome, which is, having to do surgery and an injury like this. So how we're gonna do it, I'm going to be discussing with my coaches and we will work with it together. So yeah, definitely I want it to be 180-degree change and better for my next comp, for sure.
Right. Okay. So in a sense, so work smarter and then try to not over
Trust your
train
coaches.
yourself and trust
Trust
your
your
coaches.
coaches. Yeah.
That's definitely true. And sometimes when you're young, you feel like, yeah, I can do everything.
Exactly.
Sometimes you forget that the coaches have more experience and they know what would happen if you overtrain and stuff like that. Okay,
Exactly.
Colin, thank you very much for an awesome session today. We're almost to the end of our show. We've discussed a lot of things, and Colin have really inspired a lot of women out there to be who they want to be. Okay, at the end of the day, if you want to be this, just go for it. Don't hesitate to do what you want to do. Before we end today's session, Colin, would there be anything that you wanna say out there to the audience or your followers or those who are inspired to become a world champ or maybe to become good in MMA or represent Malaysia one day? Maybe you can, give 1 or 2 minutes last word to the people out there.
Um, I would say to those who want to pursue MMA as a career and all that, um, this is something that I think find your why. Why is it that you want to fight? Why is it that you want to fight MMA? Why is it that you choose this sport? Why is it that you like to fight? Ask yourself this and really think properly. Why is it? I'm not trying to deter people, but it is a common thing with fighters that they say they just fight just for the sake of fighting. But when you have your why, when you find your purpose, your why, everything will just fall into place and everything will make more sense as well. Ask yourself, why do you want to fight? And why MMA? Ask yourself and answer this question to yourself. It's not to me, just to yourself. And from there, ask yourself, what is it that you want to achieve in this? And this goes for not only in MMA, but for anyone in any field. If, let's say, someone wants to pursue a career in dance or a career in engineering, anything can be literally anything, making their own business and all that. Ask yourself these questions. Why do I want dance to be my career? Why do I like dancing? What is my purpose and what do you want to achieve? Ask yourself this and have your goal in mind. I think I know it's not really an advice, but I think your mental clarity is just as important as pushing yourself in training as well.
All right, amazing, amazing, amazing from Colleen. I think that was very wise advice because at the end of the day, you're gonna have a self-awareness. You're gonna know what you want to do. Working people, they goes into things without knowing what they are meant to be. Okay, so once you know what it is for you, it will be a lot easier for you to achieve your goals. Okay, we'd like to thank Colleen again for your time. We wish you all the best for your recovery, and we
Thank
wish
you
you
so
all the best
much.
and hope you will continue to make Malaysian proud. All right, in all the competition, and I hope to see and catch up you one day again. Okay.
For sure. Thank you so much, Azmir, and thank you everyone. I really hope that this is insightful for you guys and hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Sorry, correct. And yeah, today is very messy again. I'll catch up with you again one day, Colleen. Take care.
Thank you, Azmir. See you soon.
Alright, see you soon. Okay, to all our audience today, thank you for watching today and sorry for all the technical glitch that you had to go through. All right, it's a lot of issue that we have to face. Okay, because I think itulah. So, but again, thank you for tuning every weekend, every week with our coffee talk show. Till we meet again for another show next week with a new guest. I will discuss a different topic and hope it will bring value to you all out there. Till then, selamat berbuka puasa to all Muslim and play with confidence.